Hello all, welcome to Java Talent. In this today video tutorial, we are going to cover that shopping cart example using the microservices API which with the Spring Boot. So like in this example, I'm going to cover that one of the different type of microservices. So first I will create the this payment service, and then we will go ahead and create the product service. First we will create the product, and then we will go ahead with the payment service, and then we can go with the order service. So let's see like how we can implement this example. So there is the three web service microservices that we have to create using Spring Boot, and then first we need to go with the product, and then we need to select the payment, and then we need to select the order service. So from there order service it will communicate to for product and then payment. So once it is done, and then we can just means here in this example I'm going to cover all together in the MySQL database. So all the different microservices having the different their own their own databases. So that we are going to cover in the today video tutorial. So let's see. Let me go ahead, and then in this video tutorial we are just going to follow this Spring Initializer here. So this is a Spring Initializer tool, basically that you know that like we need to go, and then it is a very simple tool. So with the help of this initializer we need to create the project, Spring Boot project, basically starter project. So let's demonstrate that here. So for example, I'm going to create the product service first. So to create the product service, what are the things you have to select? So I'm going to select here. If you see, you can select the project type as means build tool as Gradle or Maven, whatever you want, not an issue for you. And so for example, let me go here, and then for example I'm going to create the Gradle project for product and then payment, but for order I will go ahead and create the Maven project. So you can select all together Maven, but I just wanted to demonstrate there is no any differences. So and language I'm going to choose as Java, and Spring is 3.2. So here what I am giving as group name is java.com.java talent. Here an artifact I am going to give as product service. So for me it is already imported, so I do not want to waste your time and my time as well. So but yeah, but for sure that like if you are going to do that, so just follow this rule. So artifact name is this one, name is this one, description you can give anything, product service for Spring Boot or product service implementation, whatever you want. Okay, so jar packaging, jar or var, and then Java version I'm going to use 17th, and the dependency most sure you need to understand like what are the dependency I'm going to use. So I'm going to use here as Spring Web first dependency, and I'm going to use data JPA. So that for MySQL database connectivity I'm going to use data JPA, and then next one is MySQL, because I'm just connecting with my driver, database driver, so that is the MySQL. Lombok, you know that it will be very helpful for us, so it will remove our boilerplate code. So these are the four dependency altogether in for every three service I'm going to use, so you can just make a note of it. And if you go ahead and create generate, it will generate the project for you. So if you see that product service one, it has been generated because I have already generated and just tested it out before this class. So you can just see that the product service has been zip file. So if you go there and just unzip it, and you can just paste it to your working directory. So for me it is already there, and similar for second one like com dot Java talent here, and then product is done, and then what we have to do is payment service. So the second one is payment service, and then payment service Spring Boot, whatever you want you can give here. Same thing like Java and 17th version, here you can select Gradle or Maven, whatever the build tool you want, and then same dependency like web, and next JPA, next MySQL, next Lombok. So these are the four dependency what we have to use. If you click on generate, it will generate the project for you, just need to import it, and then see product service and payment service is also copy because I have already there in my download folder. So and the third will be like Maven order service, because from there we need to check we need to call that our product and payment service. So if you click on generate, it will generate the order service. So because I have already multiple version of that downloaded folder, so that not in a case, like you need to just copy that zip file by doing a unzip into your working directory from where you are going to use. So earlier you know that like I was using the Eclipse ID. Now I'm going to use that IntelliJ ID because I am working in my offices that IntelliJ ID. So I used to just share that knowledge as well. So let me go ahead and then see whatever the product services and payment services and then order services will do. So I'm just going to demonstrate because it will take more time and I do not want to waste my time, so and your time as well. So you can just, I will just put the link of my repo, so you can just grab that information from there. So let me go ahead and then demonstrate that product API. So product API I have just copied here in my working directory. If you see the my working directory is projects Spring Boot and product service, that what I have just unzip from the download folder and just I have pasted over here. So these are the some database dependency database configuration that we have to use. So if I can show you the first, let me show you that maven file pom.xml. So whatever dependency I am using here, so if you go there, see data jpa, web, spring web, and then mysql and then lombok. These are the four dependency what I am using for every API. So let me show that product one as well. So product one I am using the Gradle build tool. So if you go to the build.gradle file, you can see dependency. See data JPA, Spring Web, and then Lombok, MySQL, and these are the Lombok annotation processor and some test API. You know that like testing dependency, it will be automatically add. So this is the these are the API that what I have just imported as Gradle, and the other one I have imported as maven. Whatever you can prefer, you can do it, not an issue for you. I will just test it out, everyone, every API I will test it out in front of you so that you have a idea how we can go ahead. So let me go to the product service first. So product service, like I'm just creating one entity class. So this entity class has the product. Do not need to bother about it, like whatever you are just going to create. So just this is the entity class, and you know that if you are using this entity and that annotation, so it will create table for you. So it will create automatically because here we are using the JPA implementation. So for example, here I'm taking the four attribute: product ID, product name, and then price, and then quantity. So let me change that data source instance name, because in that data source instance there is a lots of table. So just wanted to show that, like if you see my MySQL things here, so these are having multiple tables for that Java table, Java talent one. I just wanted to give some different name so that you can understand that product service. So I'm going to give it as product service so that you have an idea like what are the instance of that database, and then you can go with that table. So if you see that entity, it has the entity class that will create the table for you. And for example, if you see here that builder tools I'm using for that data generation things, and then see the, I do not want to go means more details. You know that everywhere like we are using the ID as primary key for this attribute, and these are the column that basically if you want to specify any column name here, so you can give it, otherwise it will take the automatically the variable name, whatever the variable name you are taking, the same name it will take for you. So these are the some of the modification that we can do it here. So this is the JPA entity, and now I'm going to demonstrate that. Let me minimize all the things so that you have an idea. Now we have to go with that as repo. So I have the product repository because I do not need to bother about it. Will JP repository, all the implementation will be taken care from this repository itself. And here you need to pass the class that what we wanted for that entity, and what the type of that product entity one. So if you see that long we have taken, so that's why it is the long there. So in that repository, if you go and then see that nothing, I am just creating the interface, it will take care of everything. Now I have to create that repository we have done. Now I need to go with that response and request the payload that what we wanted for our things. So product request, I wanted to give it as name, price, and quantity. This is the request that what we are going to give as request body. and then the response, whatever the response I wanted to as product name, product ID, quantity and price. These are the response which I wanted for this product. And there is the some error response, for example customizations of error, so error message and product code, because I'm if you need to generate the error custom handling for your classes, so custom exceptions you wanted to demonstrate, so that's why I've created that exception package over here. If you want you can take it, otherwise you can just ignore it. But yeah, everywhere we are using that custom exceptions handler for our API development. So because you know that like every client wants the customization of the exception handling as well, and the root cause of that, because it will be helpful for us to investigate further in any problem. So I have created the two exceptions class. So if you see that this exceptions class and this is the handler one, this is the service class, means our custom exception class. So if you see that the product service custom exception class I have created by extending the runtime exception, and this is the handler class, because you know that like we have to annotate that class with the controller advice by extending that response entity exception handler. And we need to make that our method, whatever the method handling will be doing, and then that if that means if product is not found, then most probably this will be the exception that what we wanted to throw. So next one is like the payload, which we have already covered as the request body and the response body, and this is the exception scenario. Now we wanted to be as the service layer. So if you see the service layer of this project, so I have created the one interface with the product service, where I just wanted to create the multiple method that will do our functionality of the API. So first I am just going to create the add product by passing that product request, and then I just wanted to get as the response by getting by product ID. And I just wanted to give that if you wanted to reduce the quantity, so there is the reduce quantity method that we can pass for reducing our quantity from the order section, and delete product ID by product by ID, that product ID which we wanted to pass as. And these are all the implementations class. So if I can go with that here, if you see that I have override all the method. So to add the product, if you see here, this is the sum of the log statement, because in everywhere we need to make our logging things, because logging is the most important part of our API development. So make sure that you are also following the standards, because everywhere we need to log it. So this is the product dot builder method I'm just using here, and then product name, quantity and price. These are the things that what I wanted to pass as product, and I'm just calling that repository. And then from, if you have seen there, I have created that repository here. So that repository will do the same method, you know that like the product, this product, it will be saved to the database, and that product I'm just wanted to return as the product ID. Which ID it will be create, that product ID I just wanted to return from this method call. And these are the some of the log statement what I have given here. Next one is product by product ID. So that ID if you pass, so I will just need to check whether that product is there or not. So first I will checking here as like find by ID, if that product is find, or else throw the exceptions that product with given ID is not found. Custom exception, that what custom exceptions we have created here. And then product response, that product response is new. And then copy properties, because these copy properties, what it will do is like if product is found here in this product sections, so it will copy the same properties to this product response, and that product response we are returning here, because if you wanted to get product by ID, we must return the product response. So because if you see here, this product response is empty product response object, and then in this product response object we are copying from that product actual product from the database call, because if you see here, find by ID will be there. So reduce quantity, as I have told you that like reduce quantity, what it will do is it will take the product ID and quantity. If you want to reduce some product ID, means like that product is there and then just wanted to reduce the quantity of that product. So like we need to find that product is there or not. If product is there, so we are checking that if product dot get quantity is less than that given the quantity, then it will throw the exception, because I just wanted to, for example, I just wanted to reduce the quantity from 1 to 2. That is not the possible scenario. So these are the things, and then I just wanted to reduce the quantity, how many quantity I have given here. So this is the another method. If you want, you can just ignore this method call, but I have just implemented all the way, like you understand that what are the all the capabilities we can do is as part of the shopping cart API. So delete product by ID. So product given ID, if you pass here, so this will be see here where I'm checking that whether product exist by ID, means that ID is there in the depository or not. If it is there in this loop, that what we are doing is throwing the exception that it is not found, and then if it is not there, then we are just throwing the product with that product ID. Nothing else. Delete by ID, just simply. We are not returning anything because you can just return the some message if you want with this method call. Here I am not returning any message. You can just pass that like uh, product has been deleted with the given ID, whatever you want. Now the final call is like our controller class. So controller class, if you see that like I have given that request mapping for slash product, and this is my request mapping, and then this is the add product call by request mapping as request body as product request, and this is the post API call because you know that like we have to make the post call, and these are the log statement. I'm just ignoring it because if you want you can put it, otherwise just ignore it. But yeah, this is the best just that is the most beneficial thing. So product ID, like here I'm calling that service class call, so service class of that add product method here, and then I'm returning that as product ID, the same product ID, and http status code I just wanted to print as created. That means this add product has been done, means product has been done successfully added to the database. Get API, this is the get API call, like whether the product is there or not by passing that part variable. Here I am just giving a product ID, and these are the logger statement, and same I'm calling the service class get product by ID method with the help of that ID slash ID means product and then given ID. And then if you want to reduce some quantity of that given ID, so slash reduce quantity of ID. These are the call method from the service class. And if you want to delete that any one of the product, you can just delete by ID. So let me run this project, and then you can see that like what are the controller API endpoint we have created, and so that we can understand these are working fine or not. If you run this project, you can see like let me see that entity one, whatever the table name, nothing is there, so it will create the table for you as product. So let me open my these things. So see, this is our product table, so there is the record. So let me delete both. I just wanted to delete so that you can understand. It will be fine. So if you run this, there is no any record. So let's see here. If you see that my project is started, and uh, let's see the controller. Whatever the controller class we have given, we can just test it out from there itself. So if you see here, like for the post API call, like to create the product, we have the product mapping, and then post mapping is that one. So this is the product mapping. So like I need to pass that value of the product, and then this is the get mapping of the ID. So if you see that like if there is any table, that is the product is there. So let me run this API. So there is the there is the microservices package for the every API I have created. So this is the product one. So let me hit this. For example, this is the earlier one. So I'm just going to check whether the one product is there or not. Now see, just wanted to show that our custom exception handling is working fine. So if you see that this product ID one, what we have given here as this call method call exception thing. So this product log, if you see the log, see, you can see that the query is printed here, what the query it is running, and these are the logger, see, from the controller and then all. Okay. Okay, so next is payment service. So in the payment service also, like same dependency we have to add, like what we have added for that another product service. Okay, so like if I can go here with that transaction. So if you see the model is like transaction details class and table name I have given specifically, so that means like it will create the table as is transaction details. And if you not specify this table, it will create automatically by taking at the class name. And here I'm taking at ID, order ID, status, payment mode, and like reference number, payment date. So payment date, if you see that instance, so this is the instance type, like creating that value as time is time basically, like millisecond also. You can just write payment status and amount. So now the second thing is like the request and response thing. So if you see that the payment request, so payment request I'm going to give as order ID, amount, reference number, and payment mode. And the response what we are expecting from this API is uh, see here. So payment ID, status, payment mode, amount, and payment date, and order ID. So this order ID will come from the that order sections, and then if I can go to the exception thing, so this is the custom exception similar to that last API, and here that exception handler. So and now I'm going with the repository. So this transaction repository extends that API repository, and this is the transaction details class like which you want, and it is the method what I am going to give as find by order ID for this repo, and it will give me the based on the order ID what it will give the transaction details, list of transaction details maybe, because that might be for the same order ID there could be a multiple transactions, so that is why it is optional. And now the service layer, like if you see this service layer, so this is the interface like payment service. It has two method, one is do payment and other one is like get payment details by order ID. So to do the payment, like we need to pass as request payment request object, and then payment response object will be from the payment get payment details by order ID. And similarly the implementation of it is like if you see here same thing like do payment, and you need to annotate this class with that service, so that Spring Bean create the bin dependency injection it will do and create the bin for it. And do payment method, it will be expecting that payment request. This is the some transaction, I'm just bounding it up like, and there is some logger information same thing like, and then repository call here as to save that details. And returning, it will return the get ID, means that it will return the ID of that particular product which it has been added, like payment details, payment request basically. So if you see that payment, it has been done as order ID based on the order ID. Okay, so if you go there like and then the next method is like, one second, service one, and there is the do payment get payment details by order ID, and something we have to check whether that payment response object we are fetching or not, and that response we have to return. And there is the controller class, so this controller class is annotated with that request mapping, so this is our request mapping parameter. So and if you see here that do payment method, it has the post mapping, and when we are going to do it as like slash payment, it will be we are not giving any external URI for that, so it will make that sense. So get mapping is that order and order ID, so that it will give me a details of that payment details, like it is the payment response object, similar thing. So let me run this application and you will see that response, and then you will understand that like how we are going to map that is as payment one. So if you do that, like this will create the table for you. You do not need to bother about it because we have annotated our entity class as transaction details table. So this transaction details table will be created, and then we can see. So see here, create table with transaction details, and it will create a sequence because we are using as generation type as a auto. And if you see that the transaction sequence is just starting from the one. So let's see the table. Okay, so transaction details sequence, it is the sequence, and this is the, one second, it is still, and this is our table. It has not any record here, so let me my program is running under that 8083, I think, isn't it? 8083. So let me hit the end point here for this payment. This is the product one, and so see this is the product. I just wanted to make a payment status as order ID 101, amount is 1000, reference number 11, payment mode is and cash. Okay, so let me make this request call. So this is the payment, and this will be make as post post request. So status is okay, and it is returning the ID, that means that payment ID basically. So see the table now, see order ID this one, order ID this one 101, and then the ID will be for transaction ID, it is 1. All the details it has been populated there. Okay, fine. Now if you see here, let's see if it is returning anything. Otherwise you have to do that, like I'm just leaving it as you. 80803. And what is the URI? Payment service order and order ID. Payment order and order ID. Order ID is 101. What is the order ID of that? Order ID is 101. Let me see if it has been order ID 1 ID, transaction ID. Okay, you need to cross check it, and I will let you know that maybe you have to Google it, and then you need to do some research over this one, because I'm leaving it to you as assignment. And next one is like if you go to that order service, the third one which I have just imported as here, if you see that. So if you let me close all the here tab. So same thing, like here also we need to do the same thing. And now if I can go with the model one, so this is my order. It has the ID and the table I'm going to create as order details, ID, product, quantity, order status, and then total amount. So if you see, this is the having the payload what we are expecting as order request. So order request is like this: product ID, amount, and quantity, and payment mode. Order response, which you need to call that both the call like product details and payment details as a response from the other API, and that we are doing here if you see. And payment request, so this is the payment request what we need to pass as to that call API, to the payment API. And this is the product call, so this is the product response, and this is payment response. Now I have the exception. So exception is something like the same what we have done in the custom exception handling, and then this is the handler one. Now repo, so see order repository, just repository will call that JPA repository, that's it. And now if I can go to the order service, so this service has the two things: place order and get order details. So if you place the order, we need to pass that order request, and this will give you the details for that particular order ID. And this is the implementation class. So if you see, this is much probably you need to go through, like here if you see that order repository and REST template, because REST template, because we need to call that API, another two API, product one and then payment one. So that's why we have to make this as REST template call, and then we call that API from this REST template. So if you see here that from this place order method, what we are doing is we are saving that repository. I means we are calling that repository method save to save that order, what the order we are just requesting from our API. Now we are fetching that payment request, so whether that payment has been done or not, what are the payment details for that particular order. And then first order status is null, and then we are making that like order status is placed, just the statement I'm just doing here. In the exception block it is failed, and I'm setting that order status as success, like means place, and I'm saving that repository call, and then again returning that order ID. Next call is like get order details. So to get order details, I need to fetch that by ID, order ID. And if I am not getting that order, so I'm just returning as not found. Here you need to just bother about like this is the product response. So that we need to call the product API. Okay. First call will be product API. So here we are just calling that REST template, and this is the URL that what we are giving for that power product call. And this is product, this is the service name. If you see service name, so make sure that name you have given, otherwise you will be getting that exception. Payment service for the payment one, and product service for the product one. These two things you need to mention here for the order. See, product service, product, and then get product ID, that ID. And this payment service, payment order, and then order dot get ID, means that ID what we are giving here. So payment order and order ID basically, not order ID, order dot get ID, which is unique ID, that what it is created internally for the call. Okay, because okay, that's why it was not giving us like any error here, means any response for our payment one, because payment, it should be payment, then order, and then order ID, then it will return something for you. No transaction found, because that transaction is not there with the one. So transaction ID is 101. Let's see if it is returning something. See, fine. So this is the URI that what we have to do. Make sure that I have told you that you can just do from yourself because the code is already there. So see, this is the what way we have to pass. This is the call for that one. Payment order and 101. This is the order ID, not the unique ID for that particular table. Primary key value. See all the details it is coming here. Now next call is our order one. So see, okay. So this is our order service IMPL class. That what I was just going through it. And so this order response I am just manipulating it by populating that all the details. So if you see that order response, I'm just adding that product details, then adding that payment details, and then I'm adding that order response, and then all together I'm returning that order response here. So if you go there into that controller, see the controller will call this place order. So place order is expecting to be the request, order request, and then this is the call for our order service, that method. And then similar to that order ID, if you pass that order ID by order and that order ID, so you can get the order details. So and one more thing, like maybe you will be get some exceptions for your REST template that your ID is not going to create the bin for you. So might be you need to do it like REST template. You need to make a configuration class for it. So you can just create one package configuration, put it like REST template client. So this is the bin configuration that will create the REST template bin for you. If it is not working, so you need to do this additional step, because sometimes it was working and then it was filling. So let's see, let's run this project, and we will make one order and then we can track it whether it has been done or not. See, it will create the table for you also here, because see, it is creating the order details table. Now let's see if we have that table or not. We must be there. Nothing will be found. So our application is running as 8082. Let's do a request. So this is our payment, product and order. So make a order, like here I just wanted to make the order for product ID 11, which is not right, because what product we have, product ID I think 1 we have, if I'm not wrong. Yes. So and payment ID is also 1. So let me make a request here. I'm just placing the order as 1, total quantity 1. Let's see what is happening. Okay, so I'm getting that response, that ID I'm getting, and if you see our details, see all it is coming here, and it will create this details for you in the database. Let's see ID is 1, total amount 1000, order date this one, status placed, product ID is 1, quantity is 1. See this it is link here. See, this is the product ID. If you, I will do here as placed order as 2, product ID, it will do for that. Let's see, it will create the product ID as 2, order details. See, ID 2, total quantity is same, and then order placed plus product ID is 2. That is the product ID, second product ID. So similar thing, like if you see that order, and if you want to do something else, you can do it. Let me make that controller one, order ID. So let me do that, order and order ID, order and order ID, what it is, 1. No, let's see. No, what is that order ID? See the table, order ID is 1 and 2. No, 1 and 2. 1 second, let me see it, slash order ID. It is taking that. Total quantity, quantity, product ID, order ID. Order ID is 101. Okay, so let me Okay, our API call I'm just doing here wrong. Auto not found. Fine. Now I have to one. See, it will give you some response. Must be status 500. Why? Some exceptions to call that service, product service. It is not perfectly calling the product service. Resource access exceptions. Okay, so for this one, product service one. Okay, so one second. Product service and get whether that product service is working. Let me see product service, because we are calling internally, that is why it is there. Product service, it will not work here, I know, because the local service we are just trapping. And then okay, I'm giving it as assignment. So there's some research you need to go and then see with the root cause that product service. So unknown host exceptions means that host it is not finding here. So what we can do is just we can just replace that actual call. So like for example, here what we can do is, for now, for the testing purpose, product service. Okay, because we need to run our both the API. Product is running, payment is running. What I can do is order one here. Let me stop. Let me copy paste. Control C, Control V. I'm just commenting that line. Okay, so what I have to do is, what is that? I'm just calling that localhost, nothing else. Just for your confirmation, like whether that is working or not. This is my get product call. So I'm not passing this value. And this is my get order, get payment call, order ID. Okay, now I'm running this application, so must be let me not run it as debug mode. I do not want as debug mode. Let me run it. So in that case, you can see that order. Some service name it is not picking up, so we need to configure that service, and that's it. See, our transaction is there, and order details. Let me go there. So our order is already two placed order is there. Okay, 8082. Now run your. This is already created, and let's run this order to see the details. Again, it is not going there. Error message 404. Okay, transaction not found with the given ID. Here for that order, one second. One second, payment and order. Okay, what I can do is I'm just replacing this value for now. Just for the testing purpose, I'm just manipulating it for this one. You can just debug this code and then you can understand what are the problem it has, and then you can fix it easily. Let's just try once more. payment response. We are getting here the payment response success with that ID. Might be that order ID here we are calling, and payment ID I'm just passing as different, so that's why it has the problem. So just one more try. That's it. Order and then slash that order ID 404. Transaction not found that for particular. Okay. Oh, okay. We are making that order as 101. So 101 it will be. 1 second. Order ID. It is expecting to be order ID. Here we are passing that order dot get ID. Nothing else. We need to get that. 1 second. I will let you know. 1 second here. We need to get this as order ID something. Okay, so once more try. See, fine. Nothing else. What the order we are getting, that order ID here, and this is the response. Fine, correct. This is what we are expecting. See, order ID and this one. So what you need to do is you just need to research for that spring dot application dot name payment service here what we are giving, and how we can bound this call as order sections for our order class controller. Tick. Okay. So here in this one you can just do some research. So here order and then order ID, here that order ID is coming as 1 because that table has the 1, and you need to get that order ID, not the ID only. So that is why it was the problem. But yep, this is the code. I'm just placing it for you. You can just cross check and just do some research, and then you can go ahead. Yep, thank you for your time. Please subscribe my channel and like my videos.